Melbourne is known world over for its extensive tram network. With over 250 kilometres of tram tracks, 24 routes and 500 trams, it's certainly up there with the best. However, this means it also consumes a lot of electricity. Yarra Trams and the Victorian government are well aware of this fact, and this has resulted in the Victorian government's Solar Trams initiative. The key aim is to make Melbourne's trams completely powered by renewable energy. But as we'll get to in this video, the issue is a lot more complicated than simply this headline. Now, trams themselves are pretty easy to power by renewables. Unlike diesel-powered buses, trams just get their energy off the grid, like your house. They don't make their own electricity like other forms of public transportation and motor vehicles. This has many advantages outside of being green. Some examples include quieter vehicles, more locally environmentally friendly, able to accelerate and move faster. Just some of the examples that not having to lug around your own power source provides. But it also means, as with trains, they are the easiest transport sector to decarbonise. Similar moves have been made by the New South Wales government recently, which aims to power its trains by 100% renewable electricity by 2025. Now, the headline claim is that Melbourne's tram network is currently 100% renewable powered, thanks to 2 Victorian solar farms. But also, I feel I should mention it's just part of a broader effort by the Victorian government to reach 50% renewable generation by 2030. However, the devil is in the detail, to be honest, because the Melbourne tram network can really only be as green as the energy you put into it. And just because they have an agreement with the solar farms, doesn't mean the network is always powered by renewable energy. Because in reality, what this agreement actually is an emissions offset of the power the Victorian tram network actually uses. Yes, under the Solar Trams initiative, the Victorian government purchases and surrenders 82,000 megawatts of large solar generation from these 2 farms. It is estimated to offset about 80,000 tonnes of greenhouse gas emissions per year. It's no small amount, and it's certainly respectable. This means the solar farm operators are guaranteed revenue, especially when they can't sell into the normal grid. And the opening of these solar farms is a direct result of the Solar Trams initiative. That is to say, if the program didn't exist, these solar farms likely wouldn't either. But this also means the Victorian tram network isn't really 100% renewable powered. Because in reality, the tram network is only powered by the regular Victorian grid. The energy grid does have a lot of renewable energy in it, as seen by this chart courtesy of reneweconomy.com.au. But it also has a lot of brown coal in it. In 2020, renewable generation made up about 26% of Victoria's electricity, in line with their climate goals for that year. But it is lagging behind other states, especially Tasmania and South Australia, Australia's 2 renewable energy powerhouses. So at the end of the day, what does that mean? It means the tram network isn't really powered by renewable energy, or at least not 100%. If the Melbourne grid becomes powered by 100% renewable energy, that means the tram network also becomes powered by renewable energy solely. But until that happens, claiming the tram network is 100% solar powered simply isn't the case. This is especially true overnight, when solar isn't operating. The only renewable energy in Victoria becomes wind power and hydro. And the grid is very heavily reliant on brown coal, which isn't very clean at all, to say the least. Now, I don't want this to be a dig at renewable energy. I'm not a very certain type of politician, but this is simply an argument that needs to be more renewable energy in the Victorian grid to decarbonise the train and tram networks. I do think good debate can be had about whether emissions offset, like the Solar Trams initiative, is actually a good way of reducing emissions. Because physically, the emissions the Victorian tram network uses are still being used, they are just being offset technically with a different solar project. I think there's debate to be had about whether this is actually a way of reducing emissions, especially in the longer term as we look towards having more renewable energy generation in our grids. In my opinion, it's sort of cheating, and I would prefer an easier way of just expanding renewable generation generally, and not having to talk about we did an offset of the amount of emissions we would have used otherwise. I think it's very much just political spin, to be honest, and I think there are better ways of doing such a program. In my opinion, it's also sort of misleading for the public. It gives people the wrong impression about how their trams are actually powered, and also leads to a lot of misinformation about the program. It is helpful to have more renewable generation in the grid as part of this program, but I think it's just been sold the wrong way, to be honest. Of course, 100% renewable energy is quite hard to achieve, and especially with Victoria's pretty garbage renewable energy goals, it's not going to be reached anytime soon. 50% renewables by 2030 really isn't that good. I know it's not the topic of this video really, but by that time Tasmania will be producing 200% of its energy through renewable generation and South Australia over 100%. Just to give a little context really. However, of course, other good things have been going on to decarbonise Melbourne's tram, train and also bus network. Effort has been put into installing solar panels around the network as well as investing into green battery electric buses. So there is certainly a lot going on in Victoria to decarbonise the transport network, and that's certainly very commendable. And it also means the cleanest tram network in Australia is Adelaide's, as Adelaide has over 60% of its energy generation from renewables last year, making it the cleanest tram network in Australia, and also technically electric train network, although Adelaide is of course cheating, it currently still has diesel trains. Take that, Melbourne. Look, I'm South Australian, I have to put that in the video. So that's the end of the video, and the conclusion to this one's a bit vague, to be honest. There isn't really a solid, definite conclusion. I never really came to one. I never really felt like I was comfortable in coming to a conclusion about whether the Solar Trams initiative is really that good. I think it is good, but I think it's misleading in a lot of ways, and I don't think it's the perfect way to decarbonise the transport network. I certainly think the project's good. I mean, I'm happy it's occurred. I'm very much pro-renewable energy. I hope that's not misunderstood. I hope from my comments in this video everyone can understand that I am very much in favour of more renewable energy and in favour of public transport networks. I just have questions and reservations about the Solar Trams initiative. So thank you for watching the video this far through, and if you enjoy my content, consider liking, subscribing, etc. And I will see you in the next one for more public transport related content.